Welcome to Weird History Podcast. I'm your host, Ben Carter. In the realm of scholarly pursuits, few ventures have proven as enticing and elusive as the search for Atlantis, the mythical city lost beneath the waves, immortalized by the ancient philosopher Plato. Yet, it was not an archaeologist or historian who came closest to claiming this prize, but a group of scientists from Harvard University. This tale, as bizarre as it is intriguing, unfolded in the early 1970s, in the midst of the Cold War, when science often took unexpected turns in the face of political and technological pressure. A satellite named ERTS-1, the first of NASA's Earth Resources Technology satellites, was launched into space in July 1972. Among its many tasks was mapping Earth's surface with a new technology called remote sensing. The satellite was capable of detecting geological features invisible to the naked eye, and its data was eagerly analyzed by scientists worldwide. One such group was led by Richard Stothers, an astrophysicist at Harvard. Stothers and his team were among the first to receive ERTS-1's images, and as they pored over the data, they noticed something extraordinary. In the heart of Spain, along the coast of the province of Cadiz, satellite images revealed an unusual concentric ring formation. The structure, about 20 kilometers in diameter, was too perfect, too symmetrical to be a natural formation. The team was astounded. Their thoughts turned to the story of Atlantis, as told by Plato, who described it as an island with concentric circles of water and land. Could this anomalous structure, hidden beneath the Spanish soil, be the remnants of that legendary city? The hypothesis was daring, audacious, and tantalizingly plausible. The location fit with some interpretations of Plato's texts, and the age of the structure, as determined by preliminary analysis, seemed to align with the time of Atlantis's supposed existence. News of the discovery spread quickly through academic circles, causing a stir of excitement and skepticism in equal measure. The idea that a group of Harvard scientists, aided by a NASA satellite, might have located the ancient sunken city of Atlantis was too sensational to ignore. The world watched, waited, and wondered. Yet the story was far from complete. The team needed to validate their hypothesis, to provide concrete evidence that could withstand the scrutiny of the scientific community. They needed to dig, to touch the structure, to confirm its artificial origin. Thus began a new chapter. A quest filled with anticipation, fraught with challenges, and shrouded with the shadows of the past. This endeavor, though rooted in the cold logic of science, was shrouded in the cloak of mythology, straddling the line between fact and fiction, science and speculation. It was a journey into the unknown, a pursuit of the elusive Atlantis, the city lost in time. The team, led by Stothers, began in earnest, preparing for an expedition that would take them across the Atlantic to the shores of Spain and to the very heart of the mystery. They partnered with Spanish archaeologists, geologists, and historians, each an expert in their field, to form a formidable team of scientific explorers. Their destination was the province of Cadiz, a land steeped in history and myth, and the proposed site of the ancient city of Atlantis. The concentric ring formation observed in the satellite imagery was located in a marshy region called Marisma de Hinojos. It was a harsh, unforgiving environment, a labyrinth of water channels, mudflats, and reed beds, making it difficult to traverse. Despite the difficult terrain, the team pressed on, drawn by the tantalizing prospect of unearthing a city lost to time. As they journeyed deeper into the marshland, the formation became more distinct, rising subtly from the flat landscape. Concentric circles, each meticulously aligned. It was an eerie sight, a stark contrast to the natural disorder of the surrounding marsh. The symmetry was uncanny, almost unnatural, seeming to validate the team's audacious hypothesis. Upon reaching the site, they began their rigorous investigation. They conducted soil analysis, surveyed the area using ground-penetrating radar, and excavated strategic locations, hunting for artifacts that could shed light on the origin and purpose of the ring structure. They were looking for evidence of human activity, of a civilization that may have once thrived in this harsh marshland. During the days that followed, the team discovered intriguing artifacts, pottery shards, fragments of ancient tools, and even remnants of structures that hinted at a once bustling settlement. The artifacts were aged, weathered, but they held within them stories of a time long past, stories that could potentially rewrite history. The presence of these artifacts seemed to validate the team's hypothesis. They suggested that the ring structure was not a natural formation but a product of human ingenuity, a monument of an ancient civilization. And the age of the artifacts, as determined by radiocarbon dating, appeared to align with the time of Atlantis' supposed existence. The discoveries were exhilarating, lending credibility to the team's bold assertion. The concentric ring structure, the artifacts, and their age all pointed to a tantalizing possibility. Had these Harvard scientists, aided by modern technology and sheer audacity, stumbled upon the remnants of the elusive Atlantis? The world watched in rapt attention as the team continued their groundbreaking investigation. But as it often happens in the world of science, answers only led to more questions, and the mystery of Atlantis seemed as elusive as ever. The expedition was a treasure trove of history and mystery, but it was an unexpected find that would cast a surreal glow over the entire venture. Amidst the shards of pottery and worn artifacts, the team uncovered something profoundly unsettling. A human skeleton, preserved through the ages, found sitting within the confines of a wall. What was most shocking was not merely the presence of the skeleton, but its curious positioning, sitting upright, as if frozen in time, in a posture that seemed to suggest a conscious decision rather than an accidental entrapment. The skeleton was remarkably well preserved, with the hard calcium of the bones still intact despite the centuries. It was a man, as identified by the broadness of the shoulders and the shape of the pelvis. The skull, with its hollowed eye sockets and gaping jaw, stared out at the team with a silence that was more eloquent than any spoken words. The posture suggested a sense of waiting, of expectation, a scene that stirred the imagination and sent a shiver down spines. This was no ordinary burial. The man was not laid down in peace, but rather seemed to have been walled in alive, his hands appearing as though they were once clutching something of importance. Could this be a ritualistic sacrifice, or perhaps a self-imposed entombment? The team was left grappling with the haunting enigma. Further examination of the skeleton revealed a startling detail. The man was not alone in his strange tomb. In his hands, he held another smaller set of bones, which, upon closer inspection, was identified as that of a canine. The skeletal remains of a dog, nestled in the lap of its master, added another layer of complexity to the intriguing tableau. The relationship between man and dog, companions in life and death, echoed through the ages. Was this a poignant narrative of a man and his trusted companion choosing to face death together, sealed within a wall for reasons lost to time? Or was it a tale of an ancient community's strange and unorthodox burial customs? The mystery of the skeleton found sitting in a London wall was an enigma wrapped in history, a puzzle that invited more questions than it answered. The silent sentinel and his canine companion were a stark reminder of the timeless human drama, of lives lived and lost, and of stories etched in bone and earth. As the archaeologists continued to unravel the secrets of the skeleton, they were not just unearthing objects, they were unearthing narratives, fragmented stories of a civilization lost to time, stories that transcended the boundaries of the past and touched the realm of the ethereal. One of the most tantalizing aspects of this discovery was the nature of the wall itself. It was no ordinary partition, but an elaborate construction dating back to the medieval period, corresponding with the estimated age of the skeleton. This wall, hidden in the heart of London, was a relic of an era when the city was a maze of narrow, winding streets and timber-framed houses. Its robust structure and the meticulous craftsmanship suggested that it was built to last, to protect or contain something of significance. The archaeologists speculated that the wall could have been a part of a private dwelling, a public building, or even a religious institution. If it was a home, then the man could be its owner, entombed in his own abode. If it was a public building or a church, the man might have been a notable figure, immortalized within this stone sarcophagus. The dog, in this context, could represent loyalty, companionship, or perhaps a spiritual guide in the afterlife. Another intriguing element was the absence of any grave goods. The man and his dog were entombed with no apparent personal belongings, no jewelry, no tools, no coins, a practice that was uncommon for the time. This could suggest a form of punishment or an act of contrition, a voluntary self-sacrifice. It could also denote a spiritual belief, a renunciation of worldly possessions in the face of death. The presence of the canine skeleton in the man's lap also sparked a flurry of theories. Dogs were often seen as symbolic animals in many cultures, representing various attributes such as bravery, loyalty, or protection. In some societies, they were believed to guide the spirits of the deceased to the afterlife. Was the dog a beloved pet, a faithful companion in life and death? Or was it a sacrificial offering, a symbolic gesture of some forgotten ritual or belief? The physical condition of the skeleton also provided tantalizing clues. There were no visible signs of trauma or disease, which might suggest a peaceful death. Yet, the man's posture, the positioning of his hands, the peculiar location of his burial, all hinted at a more complex narrative. It was a narrative that was intimately linked to the history of the city itself, to the people who had lived and died within its walls, leaving behind echoes of their existence in the form of a skeleton hidden in a wall. The mystery of the skeleton found sitting in a London wall was a testament to the enduring power of the past, a reminder that beneath the bustling streets and towering skyscrapers of the modern city there lies a rich tapestry of history waiting to be unraveled. In the mid-19th century, in the bustling cityscape of Victorian London, an equally captivating mystery was beginning to unfold. It involved not a skeleton in a wall, but a hat that would launch a significant revolution in public health. This was not just any hat, but a top hat, the symbol of the English gentleman. The hat that would become the centerpiece of one of the most unexpected public health crises in history. The hat maker, or hatter, was a respected artisan in Victorian society. The process of hat making, however, was a toxic affair. The hatters used a compound called mercury nitrate to treat the fur used in the hats. The mercury transformed the fur into a smooth, shiny, malleable material. The hatter would then shape the material into the elegant contours of a top hat, but the poison took its toll. As the hatter breathed in the mercury vapors, he would slowly succumb to mercury poisoning, or erethism, a condition more commonly known as Mad Hatter's disease. The symptoms were nightmarish: tremors, slurred speech, loss of coordination, hallucinations, paranoia, and, in severe cases, death. While the affliction of the hatters was well known, it was largely ignored by the authorities, dismissed as an occupational hazard. But that was set to change with the case of one particular hatter. In 1861, a hatter named George Lemaitre was found dead in his workshop. He was slumped over a hat he had been working on, a half-finished top hat still in his hands. The autopsy revealed high levels of mercury in his system. The shocking death of Lemaitre was a wake-up call. His demise, in such a tragic and disturbing manner, brought the plight of the hatters to the forefront. It sparked a public outcry and marked a turning point in the perception of occupational health hazards. It led to a surge of interest in the field of industrial hygiene, the study of workplace conditions and their impact on workers' health. In the wake of Lemaitre's death, laws were enacted to regulate the use of toxic substances in the workplace. The use of mercury in hat-making was eventually banned, and safer alternatives were sought. The hatters, once consigned to a life of slow poisoning, could now breathe easier in their workshops. The poisoned hat that ended Lemaitre's life had a profound effect. It sparked a revolution in public health, transforming workplace conditions and workers' rights. It was a catalyst for change, a symbol of the struggle between industrial progress and human health, a silent reminder of the cost of neglecting the latter. Indeed, beneath the sheen of the top hat lay a tale of suffering and redemption, a tale that played a vital role in shaping the course of public health history. The macabre spectacle of Lemaitre's death, found lifeless in his workshop with a half-finished hat in his hands, shook the public to their core. It was a stark, visceral reminder of the deadly cost of industrial progress. The image of the poisoned hat was imprinted in the collective memory, a potent symbol of the dangers lurking in the workplaces of ordinary men. The outcry was swift and vociferous, fueled by a newfound awareness of the hatter's plight. The public demanded answers, and more importantly, solutions. The tragic end of George Lemaitre had struck a chord, and the plight of the hatters could no longer be ignored by the powers that be. In response to the public outcry, the government was compelled to act. A series of laws were enacted to regulate the use of toxic substances in the workplace. The production of hats, once a deadly process, was placed under scrutiny. The use of mercury in hat making was eventually prohibited, a victory for the hatters who had suffered in silence for so long. But it wasn't just the hatters who benefited from this revolution. The case of the poisoned hat had drawn attention to the fact that harmful substances were often used in the workplace, a reality that many were oblivious to. The tragic tale of Georges Lemaitre became the catalyst for a broader conversation about industrial hygiene, leading to a paradigm shift in how occupational health hazards were perceived. The poisoned hat that had ended Lemaitre's life had sparked a revolution that went far beyond the workshops of hatters. It served as the impetus for a broader public health movement. The plight of the hatters had laid bare the stark reality of industrial hazards, a reality that was no longer ignored but confronted head-on. The revolution that ensued was not confined to the realm of legislation. It also sparked a surge of interest in the field of industrial hygiene, an area of study that had been largely overlooked. Scholars began to delve into the impact of workplace conditions on workers' health, a topic that had hitherto been neglected. This revolution marked a turning point in the history of public health. The poisoned hat had not only ended a man's life, but also sparked a movement that would change countless more. It was a testament to the power of a single event, a single object, to bring about sweeping change. And it was a stark reminder of the cost of neglecting the health of workers in the pursuit of industrial progress. The tale of the poisoned hat is a poignant chapter in the annals of public health history, a testament to the transformative power of tragedy. As we turn the page on the poisoned hat saga, we delve into another chilling chapter of history, one as macabre as it is fascinating. We find ourselves in the bustling city of Rome, not in its heyday of grand emperors and mighty gladiators, but in its twilight years of the 15th century. The city, a shadow of its former glory, was the backdrop for the chilling tale of the world's first recorded serial killer, a man whose name still sends shivers down the spine, Gilles de Rais. The story of Gilles de Rais is one steeped in paradox. Born into nobility and a decorated military commander, he was a renowned figure in French history. A comrade in arms of Joan of Arc, he played a crucial role in the 100 Years' War. Yet beneath this veneer of respectability lurked a monstrous predator. The depths of de Rais's depravity were staggering. He was charged with the abduction, torture, and murder of scores of children, with estimates ranging from 80 to 200 victims. His modus operandi was chillingly methodical. He would lure young boys to his castle with promises of gifts or employment, only to subject them to unspeakable horrors. What makes the Gilles de Rais case particularly intriguing is the context in which it occurred. This was the 15th century, an era when superstition reigned and the concept of serial killing was virtually unheard of. Yet the evidence against de Rais was so damning, so overwhelming, that it broke through the limitations of contemporary understanding. After an extensive investigation spearheaded by Bishop Jean de Malestroit, de Rais was brought to trial. The proceedings were a spectacle, drawing crowds from across the region. The testimonies from the trial were graphic and horrifying, painting a picture of a man whose brutal crimes were in stark contrast to his noble standing. Eventually, Gilles de Rais was found guilty. The sentence was as severe as it could be. He was hanged and his body burned. The case was a landmark, an unprecedented exploration of human depravity. It served as a chilling reminder that evil could lurk even behind the most respectable facades. The tale of Gilles de Rais, the world's first recorded serial killer, is a dark stain on the tapestry of human history. It stands as a stark testament to the depths of depravity to which a human being can descend, shattering the illusion of nobility and respectability. It is a chilling reminder of the monsters that can hide in plain sight, cloaked in the guise of nobility and power, and it underscores the enduring human fascination with the macabre, the horrific, and the inexplicable. But the tale of Gilles de Rais does not end with his death. In fact, the surrounding mystery and intrigue only deepened, adding yet another layer of the bizarre to his already gruesome story. It was rumored that, in the days leading up to his execution, de Rais confessed to his crimes with an eerie calmness, displaying no remorse or fear. Instead, he seemed to revel in the recounting of his monstrous deeds, as if the retelling brought him a certain perverse satisfaction. This apparent lack of remorse was shocking, even for a man as monstrous as Derace. It led many to question whether he truly understood the gravity of his crimes, or whether he was so far gone into the realms of depravity that he no longer recognized right from wrong. Such speculation only added to the chilling allure surrounding the world's first recorded serial killer. Equally disturbing were rumors of occult practices. Derace was said to have dabbled in alchemy and demonology, allegedly conducting horrific rituals in his quest for wealth and power. His fascination with the occult was so extreme that he was accused of summoning demons and making a pact with the devil himself. This aspect of his life added an even more sinister dimension to his crimes, suggesting a man not just corrupted by his own dark desires, but possibly influenced by dark forces beyond human comprehension. The macabre fascination with Derace did not fade with time. Centuries later, his story would inspire one of the most famous tales of all time, Bluebeard. In this tale, a wealthy and powerful man marries a series of young women, only to kill each one when they discover his terrible secret. The tale shares eerie similarities with the real-life story of Derace, further cementing his place in history as a figure of horror and dread. In the end, the story of Gilles de Rais, the world's first recorded serial killer, is a chilling study in human depravity. It is a tale that defies comprehension, filled with monstrous deeds and a darkness so profound it can still send shivers down our spines, even after more than 500 years. It is a story that forces us to confront the darkest corners of the human soul, revealing the depths to which a person can sink when consumed by evil. The tale of Gilles de Rais serves as a stark reminder of the monsters that can lurk beneath a veneer of respectability, forever shaking our perceptions of nobility and power. As we delve deeper into the annals of history, we unearth another unsettling chapter, this one taking place much closer to our own era. The mid-20th century, the height of the Cold War, a time of paranoia, espionage, and secret government operations. Among the most notorious of these was the CIA's L.S.D. mind control experiments, codenamed MK-Ultra. In the early 1950s, the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States began a clandestine program with the aim of developing mind control techniques that could be weaponized against enemies. At the heart of these experiments was the use of lysergic acid diethylamide, or L.S.D., a powerful psychedelic drug known for its ability to alter human consciousness. What makes MK-Ultra stand out in the annals of covert operations is the sheer audacity and recklessness of its methods. Unwitting citizens became human guinea pigs, subjected to high doses of LSD without their knowledge or consent. The effects were often terrifying, with test subjects reporting hallucinations, paranoia, and extreme emotional distress. In one of the most infamous incidents, Dr. Frank Olson, a CIA scientist, was covertly dosed with LSD at a meeting. 9 days later, suffering from severe paranoia and psychosis, Olson plunged to his death from a New York City hotel room. The CIA initially covered up the incident, attributing Olson's death to stress and overwork. It was only decades later, in 1975, that the truth about Olson's death and the horrifying extent of MK-Ultra's activities were brought to light. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of MK-Ultra was the apparent lack of ethical or moral boundaries. The program included disturbing experiments on mental patients, prisoners, drug addicts, and sex workers, people who were unable to resist or were unlikely to speak out. LSD was administered in a variety of contexts, from brothels to psychiatric wards, each scenario designed to explore different aspects of psychological manipulation and control. Yet, despite its shocking and horrendous activities, MK-Ultra was largely ineffectual in its stated goals. No reliable method of mind control was ever developed. Instead, the program serves as a stark example of the lengths to which governments are willing to go in the pursuit of power and the disturbing disregard they can show for human rights and dignity. Ultimately, the tale of MK-Ultra is a chilling testament to the darkest corners of political power, where paranoia and obsession can drive actions that defy all ethical boundaries. It is a disturbing chapter from the recent past that forces us to question the limits of authority and the potential for abuse in the name of national security. And it serves as a stark reminder of the necessity for constant vigilance and transparency in the face of governmental power. The story of MK Ultra is not complete without recounting some of its most shocking and bizarre experiments. One such operation was Subproject 22, which involved the administration of LSD to terminal cancer patients in an attempt to reduce their fear of death. The CIA hoped to use the insights gleaned from these sessions to manipulate their enemies' deepest fears. However, the experiment left many patients distressed, with some reporting terrifying hallucinations of their imminent death. Another alarming project was Subproject 68, led by Dr. Ewan Cameron at McGill University in Canada. Cameron, unaware of the CIA's involvement, was seeking a cure for schizophrenia. Funded by the CIA, he developed a technique known as psychic driving. Patients were subjected to electroshock therapy at 30 to 40 times the normal power, followed by drug-induced comas lasting weeks, during which they were subjected to looped audio messages. The intention was to wipe the patients' minds clean, then rebuild their personalities from scratch. The effects were devastating, with many patients losing all memory of their lives before the experiment. Perhaps the most bizarre of all MK Ultra's activities was Operation Midnight Climax. The CIA set up several brothels in San Francisco, luring men with sex workers who would dose them with LSD without their knowledge. The men's reactions were monitored behind two-way mirrors, the aim being to discover whether the drug could be used for interrogation or blackmail. The operation was rife with ethical violations, including the use of non-consenting participants and the potential for sexual exploitation. In an additional twist of strangeness, the CIA also engaged in experiments with animals. At one point, they attempted to create a cyborg cat, implanting electronic devices in a cat's brain and body to control its movements and use it for spy work. The experiment, dubbed Operation Acoustic Kitty, ended in failure when the cat was hit and killed by a car during its first field test. These examples offer just a glimpse into the dark and disturbing world of MK Ultra. The program's operations were so extensive and far-reaching that many of its activities remain shrouded in secrecy, the full extent of its activities perhaps forever hidden. Despite its ultimate failure in achieving mind control, MK Ultra serves as a chilling reminder of the potential for power to corrupt, and the lengths to which some will go in the pursuit of control and dominance. It is a grim testament to the harrowing costs of unchecked authority and the dangerous disregard for ethics and human rights that can pervade in the shadows of power. Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of Weird History Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to Weird History Podcast on Spotify. Subscribe now.